Now listen, string or microinverter, which type of solar panels is the best bang for your buck? What's the difference? Well, Semper Solaris is here for our Hero Highlight. Good morning, how are you?
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, we've got Robert with us. Now real quick, Greg, I know you wanted to talk about the differences, and my question to you is, do you like the microinverters or the string? I think you prefer the micro.
No, actually, I like the right equipment for the proper homeowner, and so we really want to talk about the differences in the two because it's not one size fits all.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get into that.
Can you explain the difference in people's terms that they can understand of the two types of basic systems that you install?
We'll call this the non-scientist explanation.
Well, absolutely. Well, there are definitely two types of products out there when it comes to inverters. You have a centralized inverter, which is also known as a string inverter, which is this one right here in front of me. You also have what's called a microinverter, which is this one over here on the panel. And a microinverter is also known as an AC PV panel. The main differences between the two is that with a centralized string inverter, you have your entire system wired together, and all of the modules are wired in series and then into parallel, and goes into one large centralized inverter. With microinverters or AC PV, what happens is that
which is this one
here, is that every module is independent from the one next to it, and that every module has a miniature microinverter or AC PV directly underneath it.
So, Robert, what's the advantages one over the other?
Well, it really depends on the home and what you're trying to achieve. What's really nice about the AC PV is that they work really, really well when you have shading issues, you have roofs where there's lots of different tilts and angles and azimuths, and you have issues where you just have panels at different directions, you know, and stuff like that. With string inverters, what works really well is if you have all the panels on one roof at the same pitch and same azimuth, a string inverter works really, really well because you don't have those other issues to contend with.
What's an azimuth?
An azimuth is
I knew you were going to ask that.
Sorry. So the azimuth,
I was told I had azimuth as a kid, but I'm breathing better now.
Geometry term, right?
So the azimuth is the direction in which your roof is facing in terms of how the sun hits it.
Oh, it's that. Yeah. You know.
So.
Okay, so the two different systems, how do they compare monitoring-wise?
Well, so all solar systems these days come with a monitoring setup. And in the case of the SunPower product, which we have here, the monitoring unit itself is the same. The main difference would be is that with a centralized inverter, basically what you have is you look at the monitoring on your computer or on your phone app or whatever you have, and it'll tell you the exact instantaneous output of what the system is producing at that given second, as well as the historics of the system, and it tells you what the output is in terms of the instant, kilowatt hours, watts, etc. With microinverters or AC PV, the difference is that in addition to all the same things that you have with a string setup, you also can see the independent output of every single panel and every single microinverter, so that if one panel goes bad or one microinverter goes bad, you can actually see it and identify it in the monitoring so that you know if there's a problem.
So like Christmas tree strings in the front of your home, you have them across your roof, on trees, on your entry. If one of the bulbs goes out in one of those strings, you lose the whole string, but you still maintain all your other lights, correct?
That is correct.
Versus with an inverter, with a string inverter, you lose everything on that one string?
Well, yeah, so with the microinverters, if you lose one, you only lose the one. With a centralized inverter, if you lose one panel, you would lose that string. But if there are multiple strings to the centralized inverter, you would only lose that one string, not the entire system.
And so the cases would be if you have plenty of roof space with the right azimuth, is that correct?
Correct.
Then you're probably better off with a system of panels and string inverter, correct?
That would be correct, yeah.
All right, guys, we actually have a fan question from Claire and Poway. We have a huge yard. Our ground-mounted solar systems are more or less money than roof-mounted systems?
That's actually a really easy question to answer. Ground mounts are always more expensive, simply because when you do a ground mount, you have trenching, you have groundwork, concrete, etc. It is always cheaper to put the solar system on the roof compared to doing a ground mount.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Now, though, I have a question, guys, real quick. How easy is it for folks that don't know to qualify for Hero?
Well, it's actually really easy to qualify for Hero. Typically what would happen is you can go to their website and enter all your information.
Get pre-qualified.
Pre-qualify you, or you could pick up the phone. They have award-winning customer service, and you could call them and they'll help you right on the spot.
And if
or
I'm
you
a-
will help them in the field too.
That is correct.
Just going to say that Semper Solaris will actually help them navigate you at home to get the right program for you.
Yes.
My last question about that is, or at least to let you know, I love the fact that Hero does not sign off or pay a contractor through the Hero program until you've signed off as the homeowner that you're satisfied with the project.
And that's unheard of. I've never seen a financing program where the contractor waits till the very end to get paid, which protects the homeowner.
All right, Robert, thank you so much. Semper
Thank you very
Solaris on
much.
Hero Highlight.
Appreciate it.
Remember,
Thank
call
you.
844-GO-4-HERO. That's 844-GO, the number 4-HERO, or approvedhomepros.com/hero.